everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina, and today we're going to be working on a couple of embossing techniques that I've done with these cards. And the embossing folders that I used for these are from Generations Crafting. They're the basic gray. This one is powdered sugar and snow globe, and this one is evergreen and the snow flowers, and really fun to work with. So I just wanted to show you how I did the techniques for each of these cards. So we're going to start off with this one because it's the least messiest. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have my Cuttlebug out, so I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. And I have my plates. I'm going to use my A plate and a C plate. And then I'm going to need my embossing folders. So I have a couple folders here. So I think for this one, I want to do something different than the first one. I'm going to use this one. This is another basic gray. This one's called Dearly and Frost. So these are two other basic gray embossing folders that you can also get at Generations Crafting. So let me just set my card aside here, and I'm going to move my Cuttlebug out of the way just for a second so I can show you what I'm doing. And I'm just going to take a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and put this inside of my folder, but I don't want to emboss the whole thing because on this card I embossed the top in one pattern and then the bottom in another. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick my cardstock right inside my folder, and I think I'm going to leave it just like this. Okay, I'm going to set that right inside my Cuttlebug, move that a little closer in, and put my other B plate on top. I'm just going to go ahead and run that through. Okay. So there we go. I went ahead and embossed the top half of my card. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom half. And I'm going to put this in. And with the Sizzix basic gray folders, if you keep them all facing so you can read Sizzix on the front, then you know you're in good shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the bottom half inside my folder. Get my plates back on my Cuttlebug here. And we'll go ahead and put this in. Oops. I'm not really too concerned if it overlaps because I used a piece of ribbon on my card, so I'm okay if it does go ahead and overlap. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this through. Set that to the side there. And there we go, there's our embossed image, and it has one pattern on the top and another on the bottom, and you just put a piece of ribbon going through here, and nice little effect for the front of the card. The next technique I want to show you is how I did this one. This is done with the evergreen folder, and what I did was I inked up my folder using Versamark so that I can add white embossing powder as the background. So I'm going to go ahead and take my my embossing folder and my Versamark, and I'm going to use my brayer to ink up my folder. So I'm just going to get my brayer nice and inked up with the Versamark. And I'm going to go ahead and run that right on the front of my folder. You want to just make sure, you probably want to go over it a couple of times just to make sure you have it nice and embossed with the Versamark. I found with the Versamark that it's easier to go right from the ink pad with the brayer than rather than just take the pad right to the folder, because sometimes you get Versamark or the Versamark down inside where you don't want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cardstock on there, and I'm going to go ahead and run this through my Cuttlebug. Plate on. So I have A plate, B plate, my embossing folder, and the other B plate. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through. Just set that to the side. And we'll just put that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some Zing embossing powder. of scrap paper here. I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle this on. Get the other side, and then I'll just use my heat gun to melt the embossing powder. Set that to the side. I'll clean that up later and get my heat tool, and I'm just going to go ahead and emboss this with my heat gun. Okay, so there you go. That's what it looks like now that it's been embossed. So it gives, especially with the evergreen, it gives it a really cool, like kind of snowy look to it. So, okay, so the last one we're going to do is this Joy card right here, and I'm going to show you how I made this kind of, I don't know if you can see the shimmer on there, background. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use the, let's see, the Snowflower embossing folder, and I'm going to use some Lindy Stamp Gang. This is Moss Green. It's one of their newer colors. And I'm going to go ahead and I have a little box here that I like to spray in. And I'm going to go ahead and spray this. Now you can do it two ways. You can get really neat effect by spraying the inside of the folder and putting your paper, your cardstock in and running it through. You can get a different kind of shading. But you can also do it directly like this. I'm just going to go ahead and spray my cardstock and I get it nice and wet there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this directly inside, get off some of that extra, inside my embossing folder. And then I'll go ahead and run this through my Cuddlebug. And it gives a really neat, because sometimes you get little puddles inside there. And it gives a really, really neat effect. Let's get that out. Okay? And then you could just use a baby wipe and wipe off the inside of your folder. But it gives a really cool effect. So you could either just heat this, dry this with your heat gun, or just set it aside and let it dry on its own. But okay, just wanted to show you a couple of techniques that you can use with your basic gray embossing folders. Again, you can get those at generationscrafting.com. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.